All right, we are live. Welcome back to the Nobody Asked Show slash
Char-
podcast slash all types of media.
Charlie, the year is 2025, and uh, the Colts started 7-1, and just 1 month later, Philip Rivers of the 2004 draft class is my quarterback. Um,
It's
I listen.
happened fast.
I feel like you can go back and listen, and I've been pretty reserved in at the Colts start, just like when is this going to go wrong? Then the Texans start playing well. Um, I did not expect on the balance of 2025 season the Colts would have the start they did, and then it would crumble down so hard, all stemming back to like a week 5 orbital bone fracture for Anthony Richardson while warming up with a band in an injury
I
that
can't.
people have never seen.
I can't believe that's lasted this long.
Dude, he almost went blind. He almost lost the eye. Um,
Ah, what a freak
So,
accident.
so that's go from there, week 5 maybe, to the Sauce Gardner trade. You give up 2 first round picks, things are rolling. Jones looks great. To then losing, Seth goes from being savage to not being savage anymore on his Twitter videos. And from that point on, we have lost to the Steelers. Then won in overtime against the Falcons, but whatever. Lost the next 3 in a row. Daniel Jones goes from MVP level play to a fractured tibia, then to a torn Achilles on the other Achilles, which is the second torn Achilles indie sports fans have had to deal with Halliburton earlier this year. Then
Oh my
beyond
gosh, you're right.
beyond
Oh my
that,
gosh.
and then beyond that, you have DeForest Buckner has got a neck injury. You're slowly sliding down the standings, and you don't have a first round pick for the next 2 years. Plus, Daniel Jones, he's not going to be able to start the season. So, are you going forward next year with Anthony Richardson? But for now, we have to fight for our lives with a 44-year-old grandfather, Philip Rivers. Listen, and just to add a layer even farther to this, there are a lot of Colts fans that are also Notre Dame fans. So Sunday morning, they wake up to find out they're out of the playoffs, and then 1 hour later, the season for the
Oh,
Colts is over.
br
Now,
brutal day of sports.
thankfully, I'm not a Notre Dame fan because things are bad over here, but they could be worse.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and if you're a Purdue fan, they got drummed and are now not the number 1 team in the nation anymore. So yeah, it's tough up there, man. At least Indiana's the 1 seed. Um, yeah,
Yeah, but
44,
sheesh.
44 years old. He joins the likes of Vinny Testaverde and Tom Brady. If he starts a game for the Colts, which we assume he will start this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a pretty dramatic fall from grace. I feel like ever since Sauce Gardner joined, it's been like loss after loss,
Dude,
and
it's
they now found can they still make the playoffs though, right? Like,
yeah,
is their destiny in their hands?
their destiny's in their hands. It's just they
Yeah.
have to go through at Seahawks, home against Niners, home against Jags, at
Ooh,
Texans. Yeah, I mean,
ooh,
it's a brutal
ooh.
stretch. It's a brutal stretch.
That's that's
Um,
uh that's a tough one.
Yeah, the thing that I've now things are so bad I've gotten myself bought into can Philip Rivers split these games? Can we get 500, get 10 wins and see how the basket kind of falls? Um it's
See what Joe
bad.
Flacco's doing.
Dude, I would kill for Joe Flacco and I'm his number 1 hater. You at this point you just gotta put all the eggs back in the Anthony Richardson basket. You have no draft capital to really spend. Um,
Hmm.
it's either start trading the team away and just call it what it is and break it completely up, or I mean, this is as if Daniel Jones just is out the rest of the year with this tibia injury, but he's good to start next year. This is you're in fine shape, but because it's an Achilles,
It's
this
such
is
a tough injury
it's
to
as
just
bad as it
bounce
can get.
back from.
It's as bad as
I
it can get.
when he went down, I really was like, "Oh, there's the
The
bad
tibia,
leg. Like
yeah,
it's been made worse."
yeah,
To find out, like I think it was from when you texted us to the fact that it was an Achilles. I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, that changes everything."
They,
So, and like to see his frustration as well, that was definitely
yeah.
one of the saddest
Yeah.
injuries of the year.
And dude, like to just so that was the fan side, obviously. But there's humans that play football. That's what we watch is humans doing things that we wish we could do. I, as one of Daniel Jones's biggest, loudest haters going into this season, um, you gotta feel just so bad for this guy because he was on a 1 year deal, I believe, maybe two, but I'm pretty sure it's just a 1 year deal. He is a free agent at the end of the year, so now what what he earned was a new contract, however many years, but just he earned that security, and now he's back to kind of where he started the season. You got to feel terrible for him. Also, just he was playing good football, probably having more fun than he's had in a while. You just got to
Yeah,
feel so horrible for him, his family. I don't know what the Colts do, um, besides maybe offer him like 2 years for like minimal money and see if he takes it. But I mean, you can't tag him. You can't spend $40 million for a guy that won't be ready till October earliest probably, and then he'll be
good
rusty.
Lord.
It's just like
Ugh.
it's as bad as it gets. Yeah. Charlie and I were joking before the show. After the injury, I turned off the games and watched Stranger Things. I Unfortunately that made for a long day today as I caught up on all the stuff that I boycotted. But yeah, I mean that was the only thing I could really do is just turn everything off and just like sit in a corner. It was bad.
Tough day to be a Colts fan and a
Yeah,
Notre Dame fan.
yeah, dude. And we can go ahead and dive in. I mean, there was college football
Yeah,
playoff is announced. We'll still try to get to our normal categories, but I figure, with the schedule dwindling down, especially in college football, this is the main thing to talk about. And I don't agree with the teams being the top 12 teams because they're not. There's some obvious misses like a Notre Dame, like a BYU, like a Texas, like a Vanderbilt. But given what the committee bylaws had said and what they had to do based on their own rules, I do think this bracket is correct. Does that make sense?
yes, I would love to hear why Miami gets in over Notre Dame after the ranking that we saw beforehand
I agree. That doesn't make a
with
ton of
Miami. Like why the flip,
yeah.
I
Um,
guess, with
and
Notre Dame and Miami?
did you hear their reasoning?
No.
So, and I agree. Listen, I think Miami should be in over Notre Dame simply because they beat them head to head. I know that was week one. The games still have to count, and everything else in the resume was pretty comparable. The committee chairman said the reason that in the subsequent rankings they did not have them flipped is because they had, I think, Notre Dame at 10, BYU 11, and Miami at 12. Because there was a team in the middle, they only looked like Notre Dame compared to BYU and compared to Alabama because those are the teams directly next to it. And so when they moved on to Miami, they weren't comparing Miami to Notre Dame. They're comparing them to BYU and Vandy or whoever was at 13. Um, so their reasoning was because BYU lost, which moved them to 12, they were now comparing Miami and Notre Dame against each other head to head, like directly, and that's what caused the last second change to move Miami ahead of Notre Dame. Um, and Reese Davis got into him on the selection show. He's like, I know I've asked a lot of questions, but help me understand what you're talking about because this is crazy. Um, I This is, I think, more of a function of people are mad. I mean, obviously, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're mad because you're not in. But a lot of other people are mad and outraged at this. I honestly think because they have this arbitrary show that comes out, the last 4 weeks of the season that doesn't have really any bearing. Um, and so when they make last second switches that people, didn't see coming, that pisses people off. Bless you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to get into some of these individual games, or do you want to talk about the brackets?
Um, yeah.
What should we dive into?
You mean the games from last weekend or the bracket?
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and jump into the games from last weekend because then we'll touch on the bracket instead of going backwards.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
do you want to still go through these categories? Or you just want to talk about each game?
Um, let's talk about each game.
Okay. Um,
And go ahead.
no, you got it.
And I think one that really just stood out to me is the Texas Tech, uh, absolute dumping of BYU. Um, a game where I personally thought it'd be a lot closer, given the 14-point spread. But man, Texas Tech, that defense is just so good. And I think part of it was like BYU falling apart a little bit and just being a turnover machine. But
Yeah.
at the same time, Texas Tech just brings the pressure every single game. They're going to be very interesting in this upcoming playoff.
Yeah, I love this Texas Tech team. They their mustache linebacker group is electric. We all knew about Joey Rodriguez and how good he is. By the way, unbelievable mustache, that guy. But then I can't remember his name, number 13. I think he's the outside backer. He gets run over by
It's
Bear
like
Bachmeyer, something like
Roberts or something.
Roberts. Yeah, he gets run over by Bear Bachmeyer and like on an insequential, first down. And the commentator's going crazy. It's like that's why people love playing for Bear Bachmeyer. And then he follows it up with 2 picks, one of them one-handed. Just an awesome game. That defense is going to be formidable. I do wish they've earned their number 4 spot. They earned a bye. I would not take that away from them, but I do wish we had a home game in Lubbock. A home playoff game in Lubbock would be just one of the most incredible atmospheres you could ask for. This is the second time they've played this season, and the first one went a lot like this. Texas Tech is just a good team.
Yeah, they really proved themselves this past weekend.
And Bear Bachmeyer, he did make just some freshman mistakes, some bad throws, some silly plays. But Texas Tech was the better team, and they played like that.
Yeah, and I mean LJ Martin, who has been popping off this season, he had like almost 20 carries, still got bottled up for like 76 yards. So I was just thoroughly impressed with that defense. I feel like they're going to be a really tough matchup for any of these offenses, honestly.
Yeah. And another tough defense. This would actually have been my biggest riser. Georgia fixed their Alabama problem. It seems like, at least. This game was never competitive. Like
Revenge.
when you watch the balance of this, it was just Georgia was just these were collisions, no pun intended, but these were full on collisions that they had on the field the entire game.
Yeah, they made it really hard for Ty Simpson, I feel like, in this game. Um, a guy who has just been finding his receivers, I feel like, all game, all season as well. But every time I looked up, like, there was just pressure, relentless.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look. I don't remember Ryan Williams doing that much. I do think he scored a touchdown, but I don't remember unless I'm just like crazy. We're watching it at a loud bar, getting ready for the ACC championship, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a second.
Yeah, no, he really didn't do much. Well, another pretty a game with a lot of implications as well. North Texas Tulane. That was the Friday night game
Yeah.
that we came across. Tulane sneaking in the playoff. It'll be fascinating to see if they do anything with their seed. But man, I think they proved themselves here as well. And I'm pretty sure their coach gets to coach all the way through this playoff, right?
Yeah, so most of the other coaches besides Ole Miss, they are finishing out their seasons. A lot of them are making the group of 5 to Power 4 jump, which I think is more acceptable, I guess, because it's not looked at as lateral, even though I still think LSU's obviously a better job than Ole Miss. But yeah, John Summerall is coaching throughout the length of these playoffs. This is a game that you and Ev were both big time on. By the way, Ev obviously not here today. We're at conflict. We should have mentioned that at the top of the show. But you and Ev were big on Tulane. I have been riding North Texas all year. I've just loved watching their offense play. And they just got handled. It felt like the entire game. This was part of my parlay pick. I thought over 66 was a lock. Absolutely got destroyed on this. But this is one of the first.
Wave.
This is one of the first games all year that Texas Tech's offense scored less than 30 points. Yeah, the Green Wave versus the Green Machine. But Tulane's defense came to play. They turned him over in the red zone. They got pressure on him all game. It's like Mestamaker or something like that, something weird. I had this game completely wrong. It was kind of almost not fun to watch. I was so wrong. The North Texas offense I just have come accustomed to watching never showed up for this game. It felt like.
Yeah, I I thought the over as well never really had a chance. Like
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. There was a point there where I felt like if North Texas could just put up some points, we were going to get to it. But yeah, Tulane just got up early in this one and didn't
yeah.
look back. And I think they'll be who do they play then in the
They play Ole Miss at Ole
Ole
Miss,
Miss?
which is a rematch. Ole Miss beat them by like 35 in week 2, I think.
Yeah,
Me and God and everybody had them as their dog of the week. Um,
that'll be interesting.
I do think I'm gonna. I think Tulane opened is plus 17 in that game, so I do think I am gonna lay something on Tulane on that one. Just Ole Miss doesn't have a coach,
Right.
so we'll see. But yeah, I think there was a point in the third quarter where they were down. North Texas was down like 21-7 maybe, and they're driving a chance to get points and keep the over somewhat alive, just with their offense being as high powered as it is. And
Yeah,
they threw a pick, and I was just like that over is dead, deadest over possible. Um,
yeah.
Another team that's is sneaking into the playoff, our second G5 team, first time ever in the 2 years of this playoff bracket. James Madison they also played on that Friday, and they had
Hmm.
they had themselves a scare there for majority of that game, really up
They were
until
losing at halftime, right?
they were losing for most of the second half too. Or it was either that or they were up 17-14, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But
Yeah.
it took two huge turnovers in the late in the fourth quarter, and this game looks a lot worse than it was. But JMU's going to the playoff.
Oregon.
So yeah, they go to
That,
Oregon, 21 and
that'll
a
be
half,
fun.
21 and a half point spread. I want to give the Duke Dogs a shot here, but this is, I mean, they're going all the way to Oregon, and this is as bad of a matchup as I think you could get. This team is fast. You're playing at their
That'll be
home.
interesting.
Yeah, I I think Oregon is gonna cover that
It's
spread.
the biggest difference in seed as well, 12 and 5.
Yeah,
So we'll see if there's a big difference there.
yeah, I think Oregon's gonna kind of blow them out of the water there, unfortunately. Um,
Hmm.
I know people are screaming at us right now. Do we got to talk Big Ten?
Let's hear it.
This is a game that like for the football purists, like the defensive back and forth, um, some of the mind games, like the Indiana fans talking shit to the kicker right before he missed the kick, just some of the shithousery, if you will, to use a
The
soccer term.
crazy kick to miss.
It was bad. Uh, Indiana surprised me. Listen, I thought Indiana was a good team, but I thought Ohio State was just leaps and bounds better than everybody. If that stable of receivers they have gets going, I still don't think anyone can stop them. I still think that's my national championship pick. But Indiana came out and proved me wrong. They bowed up on defense. They got after saying a lot. It was just a really impressive win. And then Mendoza throwing the touchdown like slot fade to Surratt, that was an incredible play as well. Incredible throw. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
shocked. I'm shocked that Indiana pulled it off. What I'm also curious about, so we've already seen the bracket come out now. Indiana's obviously the 1 seed, but they didn't move Ohio State to like 3 or 4. They've kept them at 2. Do you think
I
if
think that's
I think it's fair as well, but do you think if Indiana lost that same score 13-10, do you think Georgia jumps them, or do you think they also get that benefit? Because I think if you see the brand of Indiana, you're putting the brand of Georgia ahead of them under the same circumstances.
I don't know because that would have also been Indiana's first loss, and then you're losing to the first seed,
I know.
and
I
Indiana
agree.
was already. I think they stay too. I don't know if you can have Georgia really jump them.
For an impressive win over Alabama.
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. Like, what would they
Yeah. What do they
change?
value more?
But then, do you really want Ole Miss or Tulane over Alabama or Oklahoma. I feel like I kind of want Ole Miss or Tulane
That's fair. That's fair.
over Alabama or Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, because I think Alabama's going to win that game, and then I think Ole Miss is going to win probably. But yeah, I'd rather
Yeah,
play Ole Miss and Alabama without a coach. That's fair. That's fair. Um, yeah, Indiana, great football. Great football team. There's not really much to say other than I was wrong in this one.
yeah. I feel like Mendoza, huge moment as well for the
Yeah, he's got to
Heisman
be the
race.
Heisman favorite now, right? Or
I
the
feel,
he's
yeah, like that was a pretty Heisman moment. The interview afterwards was kind of interesting. I'm not sure if you
I
caught
caught
wind of
some of
that.
it. Yeah, I caught some of it. He yeah, he's just an interesting cat,
Yeah, good for him though. And I saw Jeremiah Smith also got like 150 yards still, even despite
dude.
the
Yeah,
loss.
he he would be a top 5 pick probably if he came out this year.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there's one more game that I think we need to discuss, and
yeah,
that is the mighty Blue Duke Devils.
the Blue Duke Devils.
The Blue Devils Dukes,
Yeah,
um, and their incredible performance against Virginia.
yeah,
Hats off, Mr. Scott Boone.
yeah. This game was crazy, and we had a slight squad there as well. We had 5 or 6 of the boys plus my sister in the fam out, all fighting elements. You know, true football game. We got to the Irish pub alleyway down here called Lotta Arcade. Got there, we were posted up there all day, drinking beers, watching
It
football,
was a cold
uh,
one.
fighting off cold weather, shaking hand warmers like crazy. Um, but we got the dub. Nate Shepard with the touchdown score for the boys. Huge
100
group bet.
yards.
Yeah, huge group bet with everybody. This game was awesome. It was an upset. It was fun. There was a lot. I I haven't been to a championship game like this before. But I thought it was cool how they had the Virginia side all decked out in orange. Then obviously there's majority Duke fans on our side. And just kind of the back and forth between the stadiums was fun. The pomp and circumstance was great. But ultimately, Duke got a huge win. ACC champions. There was a chance there where you thought maybe the committee might do something crazy. I think it's hard to put a 5 loss team in there. Um, but yeah, just an unbelievable win. Got to go out on the field and celebrate with pops afterwards, and that was cool. I mean, dude, that was unlike something I've ever seen. And just to
Incredible.
think these kids are all like 10 years younger than me, which is wild. Um, just an awesome performance. Overtime game. The UVA touchdown catch. I mean, what a blown call. The ACC calling in a favor, being like, we can't have Duke win this game. We got to get the team in the playoff. He's clearly out of bounds, comes back in, and then
Yeah, I
like
saw that.
what an unbelievable miss. I thought. I mean, I don't know if there's a rule that I'm just forgetting. But yeah, that was crazy. And then to go into overtime, the pick to end the game, just unbelievable. Unbelievable game. And the pass back, the trick play that led to the end of the game, just a wild call.
Yeah, this one was honestly pretty legendary for an ACC championship.
Yeah,
Like a great game that came down to the wire. So I think like as a neutral, this one went pretty late, but
yeah, this
you
was
were
a
able to
long game.
catch it. I also saw a bunch of people in the stands with their score app open, looking at the Indiana
Oh yeah,
Ohio
I
State
was
score.
I was
So
one of them.
a pretty big day for football fans all around.
Yeah. Yeah. At one point in the second quarter, I had both games on, and I was like, I'm going to fry my phone. I'm not going to be able to get home from the stadium. But yeah, just an awesome day all around. I do have a couple other things before we move on from college football. Um,
Yeah,
One quick takeaway: everything's going to change again. This is going to be the third year of the college football playoff. I don't know if next year's going to be 16 teams now. I don't know if they're going to change the automatic qualifier rule. I ultimately the ACC did this because their tiebreaker rule was stupid. If their tiebreaker rule wasn't so convoluted and dumb, logic would have told you to put Miami in against Virginia. Miami probably wins that game. Miami and Notre Dame are both in the playoff. Nobody really gives a shit. Um, the playoff, I think, is going to change next year just because you have teams like Notre Dame, like Texas, like Vanderbilt that deserved it, and 2 G5 teams got in. I don't know how they're going to change it, but I think we're going to get more wholesale changes next year.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting that like the championship games only really matter in certain circumstances, like Alabama just not really affected. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
and
they only are a benefit. That's how they're worded now. They can only benefit you. They can't hurt you.
yeah, and that but yet
But then
Duke and
BYU
Virginia,
gets hurt.
nothing really. Yeah, they all just have different nuances about them now. Tulane gets in, JMU,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll probably save a few of our bracket opinions for
Yeah.
our preview show.
Yeah, and we don't have a game. Listen, we don't have any. The only game we have this week is Army Navy, which we'll definitely dive into on the preview show. But we don't have any games for this until the 20th, so we've got like
Hmm.
2 weeks. The only other bit of college football news I had: Gamecocks hire TCU's Kendall Briles, son of Art Briles. Um, I mean, TCU was a fun offense to watch last year. Josh Hoover threw for 1 million yards. It felt like, and they were always in shootouts. I he's had success with quarterbacks. I don't know. It's a hire.
Yeah, I saw a lot of TCU fans in the comments like, "Oh, praise God," doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I think it's always funny when one side hires a guy and they're super excited about it, and then the other side just acts, like they've
yeah. They
gotten
got
out of
rid
prison.
right. They got rid of Satan or something. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see. We have also had some players declare for the transfer portal, even though it's not open. Nobody of note yet, but some we'll certainly have to watch. Um,
I think things are going to be looking interesting
yeah,
this time
yeah.
in a couple months here. There was some other big news with Matt Campbell
Oh
getting hired
yes,
to
yes.
Penn State for I think like an 8-year deal, something like that. But Penn State finally got their guy.
Yeah, I love this hire. Matt Campbell is a good coach. He's done he's done things with Iowa State that you don't people don't typically have that kind of success with Iowa State. And I think he was there for 10 years, which just that says enough about the guy he is and the kind of coach that he or the kind of team he can build at a place with the infinitely greater resources at Penn State. I do think that um, he'll obviously be able to succeed more. He's still young. I love this hire.
Yeah,
I think it's a home run. It's a hire that I didn't even see. He was never a part of coaching searches. His name was never out there in searches. It felt like,
yeah.
which surprised me. But I just forgotten about him as an option. Um,
Apparently, like he didn't tell his team, or they found out on social media or something like that.
that's tough. That's tough. You got to tell the team.
But no, I guess it's just going to come down to him rebuilding that recruiting class as well
Yeah, yeah.
and getting some players in for next year. Another one that I thought was kind of interesting was Virginia Tech and James Franklin hiring Brent Pry, the
Yeah,
former head coach,
yeah.
as their defensive coordinator. So I guess just like he knows the team, he knows the playbook, he knows the type of players they're trying to get. So
It felt very much like you inviting your ex-wife to come stay in your house with the woman you had
interesting
an
hire,
affair with.
right?
It's just like
Yeah,
it's very similar to when
demotion.
Arkansas brought back Petrino as the OC, but yeah, but slightly different because there's no time in between. Yeah, it was just a straight up demotion. Now, I mean, granted, like he doesn't have to move. You know what I mean? His stuff's already there. He still gets
Yeah,
paid. Um, and like I know Blacksburg. The the defensive coordinator salary at Blacksburg that can get you just as far as you need to get. Um, yeah, honestly, I feel like this came down to something as simple as they offered it, and he was like, my shit's here anyways. I don't have to move now." Um,
literally.
so
Yeah.
he had to move his office down the hall, but like, yeah, I guess it's weird. It's certainly weird. Like he's gonna walk to the wrong chairs for morning meetings the first couple weeks. He's gonna go sit down at the head of the table, even though he's supposed to be on the side. Um, he's gonna walk into his old office and be like, "Why is my key not working
Yeah.
anymore?"
You better hope like nobody while he was like leaving said something like, "Oh, glad you're gone" or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And it's also like to the players. Like I hope I guess they liked him because if they didn't like him, they wouldn't have done this probably. But
Right.
it,
Well, and they'll have a bunch of new players next year as
it's
well.
true. It's true. Yeah, sure. Go Hokies, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
you
But
wanna? I've got about 25 minutes left. You wanna dive into the NFL?
yeah, let's do it. I was just about to say.
Um,
Pretty crazy week.
yeah, big time week. Good teams did good team things. The Colts, as we've talked about at length, we don't need to dive back into them. They did a thing. Some upsets, some teams that might be eliminated from the playoff. But why don't we start with who your most impressive performance was?
Yeah, honestly, my most impressive performance has probably gotta be the Steelers this past week.
Yeah,
Just like I mean, there was some really good gutsy wins, but this was just like a classic Mike Tomlin back against the wall.
yeah,
Like even the most loyal Steelers fans I know have just been like easing their
yeah,
defense of Mike Tomlin a little bit. I think they I think they start to feel the beginning of the end of maybe his era, and I
yeah,
think like the search is probably on for who's going to be his successor into like this new era of Steelers football. But for now, what a win to go into Baltimore, a team that was already kind of lagging with like how Lamar was has been playing a little
yeah,
bit, and the defense just showed up. Aaron Rodgers finally had a good game, um, and they just kind of took advantage of points at the right times and snuck in a win. And this is a big one because it obviously flips the division, so it puts the Steelers in the driver's seat. And if they can build off this, they might find themselves in the playoffs,
yeah,
being frisky.
yeah. It puts themselves in the driver's seat, but it also gets them a huge head-to-head tiebreaker against the Ravens.
Yeah,
The,
huge.
this was my upset of the week. This game just felt like a Tomlin win. All the doubt. Uh, a solid size spread. I think it was 6.5, something like that. And to go into Baltimore, their biggest rival, bring home a win. As not to keep bringing things back to my plight, but as bad as what's going on with the Colts, it's taking a calamity of errors. The Ravens are just bad, and they have all their players. Like I know Lamar missed some time, but the Ravens have just been bad, like doo doo shit bad. Um,
Yep.
and the Steelers, nobody even real Steelers fans would be like, yeah, the Steelers are not a very good team, but they, I mean, what does that say about the Ravens? This game was just a game to me of like, who's gonna who's gonna limp to the AFC North finish line, and it looks like it's gonna be the Steelers now. One more run with old Rodgers.
Yeah, it would be fun to see, and I feel like call me crazy, but I'm just gonna say it. I do feel like this Steelers team, it's an interesting group of guys. Like it's a lot of veterans, and then a lot of
Yeah,
just like makeshift pieces. And I feel like it could be that team that if they just, like you said, limp their way into the playoffs, it's like, who knows? Because they do have a lot of guys that have like been there, done that. They might just be that team that like turns up for the playoffs. So
are they good for
who
one?
knows?
Are they good for one home win in the playoffs? Sure. I don't think they're doing anything like long term, but I could see them
I,
knocking
I
off a
agree.
team. I could see them knocking off a team at home in that first game.
I agree, and I guess I more so think in terms of the defense. I think the defense could just get like hot at the right time
Yeah,
with the pieces that they have, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Well, talking about, do you have anything else on this game?
no, no, let's
Well,
let's hear
then,
your best performance.
yeah, talking about defense, the Texans defense yet again is
Oh,
something to watch, but they are my most impressive performance. They made Mahomes just look like he was devoid of answers, especially down the stretch in a game that was gettable for the Chiefs. They just turned the pressure up on Mahomes in a way that he could not cope. Um, and the Texans are now like I think like an 88% chance to make the playoffs. They're probably going to win the division. I think they're better than the Jags, but the Texans defense really through the whole Stroud injury as well. They've buckled up and Will Anderson is the scariest player in football outside of Myles Garrett.
Hmm. Yeah, I had this one as the Chiefs winning. I felt like this was like their back against their wall, and they just got drilled into the back of against into the wall
Yeah,
because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if this one was really on Mahomes. There were a lot of moments where his receivers kind of just let him down, especially Travis Kelce towards the end of the stretch there. But you can't go into the half with 0 points. They just kind of like dug themselves a hole too early, and I just felt like they were going to score more in this situation at home. But it just goes to show, like you said, how good the Texans defense really is.
yeah.
And they could be a team where they go into the playoffs and cause a lot of problems with the defense that they have.
Dude, I mean, I know it's the Texans, but like with that defense and Stroud just continuing to
They could
get back, they could make a serious run at the Super Bowl. They really could.
absolutely,
Out of
absolutely.
the AFC, like the big bad Chiefs look to be dead. The Bills have looked back and forth all year. The AFC North winner is not going to be very good. They've already beaten the Jaguars. So who are you looking at? I mean, and the Patriots obviously are a good team. They didn't play this week, but we'll continue to watch them. But I'm it's hard to look at any team in the AFC and not think that the Texans defense can shut that team's offense down. Um, they're just that good.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned the Bills. That was a pretty impressive win as well. Josh Allen,
That was such a visually appealing game of
potential MVP
football.
game.
Like like I know this cliche is so overdone, but like there's just nothing better than a shitty snowy football game. Like watching the players try to cut on routes and having to like shuffle their feet because the ground is so slick. Just unbelievable ASMR for the eyes, if that's a thing. But yeah, the game. The Josh Allen's awesome. He makes throws at times where it's like I didn't even see that window watching it on TV. How did you see that, on field level behind a line and then still have enough time to make the decision, throw the ball and get it there? His arm strength is just outside the scope of understanding.
Oh yeah. I mean, and his ability to also just get things going downfield. I think he had like two very, very clutch scrambles. Um, I mean, he's the best player in the NFL. And I feel like
I've still got to go
that's
with
just how it
Miles.
is.
I've still got to go with Miles Garrett personally.
I guess on the offensive
I
side of the ball, I
offensive
should
side
clarify.
I can understand that, but yeah, for the entire NFL, it's old MG for this guy. Yeah, this
Yeah, but
I really wish the Bengals won this game. Um,
yeah, I mean they should have. But did you see Joe Burrow's brain kind of broke
yeah,
on the interception that
it
led
got
to the
it,
Bills winning the game?
yeah, it got too cold. It got too
Played
cold
really
for him.
well until that moment.
Um, yeah, this is just with what happened in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I wish the Bengals would have won this so that we could have kept hope alive that the Bengals could somehow win the AFC North. I think that's all but done now. I mean, mathematically no, but the the Bengals defense has slightly turned a corner. Obviously, they gave up 39 points here, but against a good team in the snow, they caused another goal line turnover on James Cook. But yeah, it's just their turnovers down the stretch, and the Bills somehow found a way, just like the Ravens game in Week 1, um, to claw back and get a win. This was my favorite game to watch of the day, obviously.
Yeah, no, it was a good one.
But
Um,
there's a couple other games I want to touch on. One, if I can take you, Chuck, all the way back to Thursday night. Um,
yeah,
another loser leaves town kind of game. I I'm such a square peg, man, so square that I was like, well, I've been burned on the Lions last couple weeks, and I've been burned against the Cowboys. So let me just take the Cowboys here because they're playing good football and the Lions aren't. Even though we acknowledged it's in Detroit in a must-win situation for the Lions. Um, the over still hit, so that was the main bet. That was good. But Chuck, what is the season look like for these two teams now? Because I think honestly, the Cowboys in a game we thought they had to win, they don't look in that bad a shape with the way the Eagles look.
I mean, I think if you're the Lions, like that was a must-win spot.
Yeah,
It kind of felt like
yeah,
um, a huge win. I think they've got a lot to build off of after that game. I think Amon St. Brown was not healthy for that game as
right.
well. So getting him back to 100% will be huge. Their defense has been super banged up. We all know. So I think they've got like two or three pieces coming back as well. So if the Lions can just squeak things out, you know, limp into the playoffs, I think they've got a real chance of getting healthy at the right time and getting things clicking as well. I think if you're the Cowboys, there were a few underlying problems in that game. Like George Pickens was just like nobody's home,
Yeah,
complete, just not really running routes all the way through. It looked like he just gave up like mid-game. A lot of those like reasons why the Steelers passed on him, I think came out in this game, and George Pickens is gonna be good for one of those every like hopefully 10 games, I think if you're a Cowboys fan. But yeah, they're still dangerous. I just think like with the record they have, I don't know though, because the Eagles lost last night. So
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like for the Lions, to your point, this felt like it was a must win because the Bears and the Packers have both played so well. But
yeah,
for the Cowboys, losing this game and then you turn around and see the Eagles lose again on
and for
Monday
the
Night
wild
Football.
card.
This is huge. You still have that tie, which I don't know if that's good or bad, how that works in the record, because it's not a loss, but it's not a win. The math would makes me confused, but
Yeah.
that division is still very winnable. The Eagles kind of look terrible. Jalen Hurts looks devoid of confidence and
Well,
ability.
that's where I was gonna go next, is that
Let's
game from last night, and what a game it was.
yeah.
But my gosh, Jalen Hurts. I don't know if I mean part of those interceptions I think was like I know there was one where it felt like it was very catchable from AJ Brown.
AJ Brown's drop was bad.
Yeah, and I feel like I'll definitely give Jalen Hurts a pass on that, but there were some in there where he turned it over like twice on one play, I
Yeah, that
think.
was I've never seen such a thing. Um, this game went exactly like I thought, which is why I stayed away from it because I was like it's going to be ugly and I don't know who wins. But um, the Eagles, I mean, it's similar to what I said about the Ravens. You got all your guys and it looks bad. It looks really bad. And you've paid Jalen Hurts already. AJ Brown doesn't look like he wants to be there most of the time. Um, it they lost to a Chargers team with both their tackles out for the season and Justin Herbert like 4 days off hand surgery, plus Amarion Hampton's first game back, and he looked completely fine. The Eagles, the offense looks bad. It's been looking bad, but now the defense doesn't look great either.
Yeah, I honestly thought the defense last night kind of stepped up for the Eagles in a lot of ways. They were put in pretty hard spots, so like for a lot of the game because of Jalen Hurts.
That's fair.
Um, and like Cooper DeJean and a lot they made some plays down the stretch because those Chargers receivers are it's a tough job. I feel like going man to man with them. Obviously, Herbert is hard to guard. It's hard to play with as well. I think he
Yeah,
had like 70 yards on the ground. I
yeah,
feel
he
like
was
every
moving
time he
all
touched the
around.
ball, he was getting like 10 yards. Yeah, so he's hard to cover. To me, it's the offense,
Yeah,
and it's
big
just
time.
like all on the offense because they just can't really put like a complete drive together. It feels like stupid flags on like the 2 yard line, I think, that lead to field goals. Jake Elliott's good, I feel like, for a field goal miss
Yeah,
once a game. Um, and if you're AJ Brown, like a lot of moments last night where he had a real chance, I feel like, to put the game away, and you could see like Hurts put it there. There were
yeah,
a good handful of them. Whether it was at like interception or I think like one he had in the end
in
zone
the
as
end
well,
zone.
where
Yeah,
Hurts got it there. If
that
you're
was a
AJ
good
Brown,
that
like
was a good
no
defensive play though.
excuses.
That was a good defensive
It
play along
it
in
it
the end zone.
it was, but then like if you're gonna be AJ Brown, you can't be diva mode now. Like
Yeah,
you gotta be playing like a diva if you're gonna act that way in the locker room. Because there were a lot of moments where I think he could have made a play. I
yeah.
guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, I
Like
feel
there's
that.
one early on as well that was just like right in his grill that I think he just dropped.
Yeah. Um, the Eagles are in a bad spot. They are. This is a whimper of a title defense this last couple weeks. I do want to move on a couple pieces. We might have to touch on the gambling corner with Evan back on, I guess our next show. Um,
Yeah.
I for the people, I apologize. Kristen and I, my fiance and I are going to see Zootopia 2, and we've been looking forward to it for weeks now. So apologies. Let's just wrap things real quick with your best and worst teams because we saw a little bit. We can touch on some of these games as well, but would anything
Yeah.
change for your best team?
Um, I think if anything, it just solidified once again why I like the Rams.
Yeah,
The Seahawks are making it tough,
they
and
are
so are the
making it tough.
Patriots,
Yeah,
and so are the Patriots. I definitely put those three like in much more of a close
yeah,
bucket ever since that Panthers loss. But for me, I just still think the Rams are the most like put together team. Puka and Devontae are just continuing to look like the hardest package to guard, and I feel like it's gonna have to stay the Rams.
yeah. I 100% agree. I had the Pats last week just because the Rams obviously lost, but I needed a Rams win so I could jump back over to the Rams ship. They've also got Blake Corum moving now, the Michigan running back that they drafted last year. He's a second year guy.
Yeah,
Didn't play a ton last year, but he had a buck 28 on the ground. He's in a move that I can, I guess, in a move that I imagine is probably saving Kyron Williams' legs for the playoffs, or just to get a little bit of a different look. The Rams can just beat you so many different ways. Stafford is playing at an unbelievable level, um, and they did exactly what I kind of thought they would do with the Cardinals, or to the Cardinals, especially off a loss. But yeah, the Rams with that defense, the way Stafford's playing, and how that receiver duo for me, they're just clearing away. But the Seahawks are making it tough. I mean, the winner of the NFC West is gonna be the best team in football for me at the end of the year. But
yeah,
JSN just doing what he does, Darnold getting back off the schneid.
he's incredible. And as a the worst team, I kind of thought about the Jets this week, which the Dolphins getting that win, moving to 6-7 now. The Dolphins, I
Yeah,
think, have won like four in a row. They're now in the hunt technically. It's kind of turning into a bit of a hectic season, which
yeah,
is expected.
and
But
I think they're gonna beat the Steelers next week.
on Monday Night Football, that would be something in
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
I know. I think
That
they're
would be
gonna win
something.
that game. Um, But I want to give a quick shout out on the Seahawks before we just make fun of a team for being terrible. Our boy Nicky Manworry, first round pick for the Seahawks. What a game he had! 6 tackles, 5 solo tackles,
Yeah.
1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, um, a pass deflection, and I believe he had an interception as well, if I'm not
Yep. He had
mistaken.
a pick.
Yep,
Yep.
had a pick as well. Um, Unbelievable game. Great to see him out there balling for the boys in Columbia, but just unbelievable. I guess he could have been my big or most impressive performance as well. Um, with all that good we've just said, who is your worst team, Chuck? I know you're about to mention the Jets, but
I mean, honestly, the Falcons are not that far away.
no, they
Uh,
look bad.
I mean, they look really bad. I think it probably is the Jets, honestly. I think after like the Saints performance, and I was gonna say the Commanders maybe, but they almost beat the Broncos last week, so I feel like I can't do that. The Raiders, the Raiders look pretty bad, but they hung with the Broncos. So for
Yeah,
me, it's the Jets. They just can't seem to find a win right now, especially with Brady Cook, and I think they're just gonna continue to tank. They might even end up, with the second or third pick this year.
yeah. I wanted to say the Raiders, but they did get that last second cover, which was a huge sweat of a win for me. Um, But as long as Brady Cook is the quarterback for the Jets, it's got to be the
That
Jets.
they've got the Jags, the Patriots, and the Bills to finish out
Yeah,
the season. I feel like they're gonna be tanking.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for the boys in East Rutherford. But um, I know a shortened show today, everyone. Apologies for that. Evan will be back. We'll hope to bring a show maybe tomorrow if we can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but a lot to discuss on that. We obviously have week, was it 15, 16? First week of a lot of people's fantasy football playoffs. So we can discuss on some of that, and then we'll really dive into the bracket as well as review the gambling corner since we didn't have time today. But
Yeah.
there's a lot to still get to even with college football season ending. Chuck and I were just talking before this about maybe little World Cup previews and stuff that we'll be doing in the off season as well. So plenty of content
FIFA
still coming
World
your way.
Cup
Yeah, I'm excited for
2026.
with Evan's soccer jersey or journey getting the FIFA World Cup in the U.S. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we need to get a team octopus and then
Yeah.
have it pick the champion for us.
Yeah, we should. We could put an aquarium in my studio.
Deal.
All right. Well, next time, everyone, thanks for listening. Appreciate everyone, and we'll be back to y'all here later this week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
See you soon.